Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. So, if you haven't seen it in the news this week, there's been a lot of wildfires happening in Hawaii. And the good news is they're mostly contained. The Big Island had some, Maui had a lot, and they got a lot of damage. Now, the containment is good, but some of this damage looks really bad. If you haven't seen pictures, it genuinely looks like these places were razed to the ground. You would have assumed combat happened. Now, we are sending federal aid, which, again, that's a good thing. It happened really quick. FEMA's out there, they're doing their rescue efforts, everything like that, helping people get supplies and get set up, and it's good that we have programs like that in place. You are going to get folks who say, oh, well, we're still sending aid to Ukraine, why don't we stop that while Hawaii's on fire? And I don't know what Hawaii can do with, outdated tanks and jets and stuff like that, but sure, we'll send Abrams to fight fires if that's what you really want. I would normally tell you to disregard these people who have these kind of complaints because you can just look at how they talk at social programs in the United States and realize that this is just them. This is just people complaining about Ukraine. This has nothing to do with actually helping the American poor as much as it does is make it seem like they actually care. Regardless of any of that, you're going to get conspiracy theories that are popping up around these wildfires. It's already happening. It's the reason I wanted to make this video, was a guy's commentary around the destruction of one of the cities. He's filming, there's all these buildings and homes that have been leveled, but there's trees standing, and that was his complaint. Oh, all these buildings got burned to the ground because the fire was so hot, but somehow these trees are still standing. And it kind of makes me, it's funny, but it's sad because on the one hand, I feel like this guy thinks that trees burn up like cartoons, like the flame touches them, they turn to ash or something like that. And on the other hand, I get sad because this is like just borderline anti-intellectualism. This is just a not understanding of how the physical world works. You know, I don't know if y'all need to hear this, but trees, they drink water. They're full of this stuff. They got root systems that run underground. Sometimes they'll connect to each other. And they just drink up water all the time, and nutrients and stuff. But, the water is the important part. They're full of it. I'm sure you've heard this when you were a kid, that you look at a log and you can count the rings to see how old the tree is. That's true. That's actually a real thing. You can do that. And you might notice, when you count these rings, that some of them are more narrow than others. Some of them might be a darker color than others. I bet you'll never guess what happened there. It was a wildfire. Or drought. Some horrible conditions that the tree normally shouldn't live through, but because it stores so much water, it survived. That's what happens in a wildfire. Controlled burns happen all the time, whether it's firefighters themselves or, the native people who live on their lands. They have an understanding that sometimes a cleansing flame is good. You need this to keep the world running and to keep everything healthy and happy. So, fire's not all bad. It's just when it gets out of control that it's a problem. Now, the other hand of this conspiracy theory, that you might have already made this connection, oh, the house is burnt down, but the trees didn't. The guy's trying to make it seem like because of the level of destruction on these houses, it was something more than fire. And you might think that this sounds like the whole jet fuel can't melt steel beams things, and you're right, and the argument is the exact same for why that's not the case. Yes, it doesn't melt steel beams, but it does make things weaker. That allows them to collapse on each other, and then all that added weight can crush things, like any house fire does. Like, just watch a single video, go on Google, type in house fire, time lapse, and watch the building collapse on itself. This rejection that we've had in the last 20 years or so of getting away from mainstream media, I think it's had the opposite effect of what people want. It's supposed to be this whole, like, I'm a free thinker and I do my own research and I come to my own conclusions, but instead what happens is you get these people who come up with these wild conspiracy theories to suit their narratives, whether it's, governmental control, 15-minute cities, whatever it could be, and then rather than actually look into the subject matter, they go and hunt down other people who just agree with their mindset. And then it's like a singularity of bad ideas. And I really hope we can get out of that as a species, because if not, I don't know what to expect for the future of humanity. Like, in a few generations, we're going to be back to being cave people at this rate, but I hope not. Again, though we have federal aid going out, if you want to donate or give your time, I'll have some links in the description for ways you can help. But other than that, let's just keep an eye on Hawaii, give them your thoughts, and I hope y'all have a good day.